we're on your pink sheet, and it should look something like this. I see the screen is frozen. I'm fixing it. I'm trying to get everything nice and big. So pink sheet should look something like this, and we're going to do some practice problems on the back. Okay. So we're talking about polynomial division. We're dividing polynomials. You're good. So you'll notice that this is pretty much set up just like how you learned how to take 45 and divide it by 9, right? So here's what you're doing. We're taking the polynomial 2x cubed minus 5x squared plus 5x plus 4, and we're dividing it by the polynomial, or the binomial, 2x minus 3. So I have to divide each term, and I want to look at this. This is kind of like the decider, right? So I ask myself, how many times does 2x go into 2x cubed? Or better still, what do I have to multiply 2x by to make it equal 2x cubed? 2x times what number is 2x cubed? X squared. So I'm going to multiply by x squared. So 2x times 2x squared is 2x cubed. But now I have to multiply this second term by the x squared as well, right? Because this whole thing is being, like, we're taking the whole binomial and dividing it into the polynomial. So negative 3 times x squared is negative 3x squared. Okay. So remember, just like when you took, how many times does 9 go into 107? Let's see. I know that 9 goes into 10 one time. With 9, I subtract these two, right? Do you guys remember that? Like when you learned how to do long division with just integers. 10 minus 9 is 1. You bring down your 7. Same concept. We have to subtract this, which means that this becomes a negative and this becomes a positive because we're subtracting it. Okay, let's see. 2x cubed minus 2x cubed is 0. That's what I want. Negative 5x squared plus 3x squared is negative 2x squared. And I have to bring down my positive 5x. So again, I have to ask myself, what can I multiply? I'm going back to this, right? This is my divisor. What can I multiply 2x by so that it cancels out my negative 2x squared? Well, I have to multiply it by an x. 2x times x is going to give me the 2x squared, but I also need to make it negative. So I'm going to multiply by a negative x. So negative x times 2x is negative 2x squared. And negative x times negative 3 is a positive 3x. But remember, we're actually subtracting these. We are subtracting these. So a negative times a negative makes this a positive. And a negative times a positive makes this a negative. Okay, so negative 2x squared plus 2x squared, those cancel out. A positive 5x minus 3x is 2x, and I'm going to bring down my positive 4. All right. What do I have to multiply 2x by to make it go into 2x? 2x times what? Yes, 1. So I'm multiplying by a 1. 1 times 2x is 2x. 1 times negative 3 is negative 3. But remember, we're subtracting these. So when I subtract, this becomes a negative 2x, and this turns into a plus 3. 2x minus 2x is 0. That's what I want. And 4 plus 3 is 7. This is my remainder. This is my remainder. So we bring down the next term and repeat the process. But when I take my remainder, do you guys remember when you were little and you used to write r equals like your remainder 7 or whatever? You can't do that, right? So I know that my final answer is x squared minus x plus 1. This is a positive 7 plus 7 divided by 2x minus 3. Because that's what our divisor is. Our divisor is 2x minus 3. So you have to write your remainder, if you have it, as a fraction. Numerator is the remainder, the denominator is the divisor. Okay? All right. Let's do the one that says your turn. Let's do that one together. Okay. So what can I multiply 3x by to make it equal 3x cubed? X squared. You guys need to wake up. Trey is not the only one. I think Trey and Rose are the only ones that are giving me answers. So 3x times x squared is 3x squared. X squared times a positive 1 is plus 1x squared. I am subtracting this. Do you see it says subtract by changing the signs and adding? We have to change the signs. This becomes a negative and this becomes a negative. Dang it. So 3x, this should say x cubed, sorry, 3x cubed. So 3x cubed minus 3x cubed is 0. I hate it that this deletes stuff instead of just keeping it on there. Negative 5x squared and negative 1x squared make negative, same signs, add and keep, negative 6x squared. Bring down your minus 5x. What can you multiply 3x by so that it equals negative 2x squared? Negative 2x, negative 2x, negative 2x. So 3x times negative 2x is negative 6x squared. 1 times negative 2x is negative 2x. Okay. You subtract by changing the signs and adding. So the opposite of a negative is a positive. The opposite of a negative is a positive. Negative 6x squared and positive 6x squared, cancel each other out, which is what we want. Negative 5x and a positive 2x give me a negative 3x. Bring down my positive 4. Okay. What can I multiply 3x by so that it equals negative 3x? Someone other than Trey or Rose. Negative 1. Thank you, Michael. Negative 1. So negative 1 times 3x is negative 3x. Negative 1 times a positive 1 is negative 1. We have to change the signs because we're subtracting, so that means you're adding the opposite. Change the signs. Negative 3x and positive 3x, those cancel each other out. 4 plus 1 is 5. That is my remainder. So my answer, x squared minus 2x minus 1 plus 5 over 3x plus 1. What's messing with your brain on this one? What do you not like about it? It's the whole changing the sign thing. You have to just remember you're subtracting. You have to remember you're subtracting. Okay? Flip it over. Those are synthetic. We're not doing those. Flip it over. We're going to do number 1 and number 2 on the back. We're going to do number 1 and number 2 on the back. Okay? Because your examples down here are for synthetic, and we're going to do that tomorrow. All right, so number 1, maybe I'll just write mine out because I don't know where my sheet is. Number 1, I have 2x to the 4th plus x cubed minus 2x squared minus 9 divided by 2x minus 3. So here's how we're going to set it up. I have 2x minus 3 on the outside. That's my divisor. And 2x to the 4th plus x cubed minus 2x squared minus 9. All right. What can I multiply 2x by to make it equal 2x to the 4th? Noah. What can I multiply 2x by to make it equal 2x to the 4th? Noah. It's not x to the 4th. It's 1 power less. X to the 3rd. Okay. So 2x times x cubed is 2x to the 4th. This is exponent rules, right? Negative 3 times x cubed is negative 3x cubed. Remember, we are subtracting these, so we have to change the sign. So this now becomes negative, and this now becomes positive. 2x to the 4th minus 2x to the 4th is 0. They cancel each other out. That's what I want. 1x cubed plus 3x cubed is 4x cubed. Bring down my negative 2x squared. Okay. All right. So what do I have to multiply 2x by to make it equal 4x cubed? Zach Miller. Times a positive 2x squared. So 2x squared times 2x gives me 4x cubed. 2x times a negative 3 gives me a negative 6x squared. Remember that we are subtracting, so we have to change the sign. Negative 4x cubed and positive 4x cubed cancel out. Negative 2x squared and a positive 6x squared give me a 4x squared. Did anybody notice that we don't have an x term right there? Like, when you think about being in standard form, you have 2x to the 4th plus x cubed minus 2x squared. There's no something x. What do you think about that? We're going to need it. You're going to need it. So I want you to write plus 0 times x minus 9. You're going to need it because we're going to have to multiply by x on this next one. We're going to have x all by itself. We're going to need an x term. Okay? So 2x times what gives me 4x squared? Josh, what do I have to multiply 2x by to get 4x squared? That's it. Just times 2x. It's a positive 2x. 2 times 2 is 4. X times x is x squared. So there's my 4x squared. Negative 3 times 2x is negative 6x. Remember, I'm bringing down this 0x. It's a positive 0x. Not that that makes any difference, but still. Okay, I'm subtracting, so I have to change the sign. So this becomes a negative, and this is now plus. 4x squared minus 4x squared is 0, and 0 to the power, or 0 x's plus 6 x's is just 6x. Bring down your minus 9. All right, Kane. What do I have to multiply 2x by so it equals 6x? Three. We're just multiplying by 3. 2 times 3 is 6. So 2x times 3 is going to give me 6x. And 3 times negative 3 is negative 9. Ooh, I think something magical is going to happen here. Okay, I'm subtracting, so I have to make them opposite. Change the sign. Change the sign. Change the sign. 6x minus 6x is 0, and negative 9 plus 9 is 0. So I don't have any remainder. That's beautiful. So this is your final answer. X cubed plus 2x squared plus 2x plus 3. No remainder. Beautiful. Okay. Can we do number 2? Nate, I'm coming to you first, okay? You got this. So number 2, I'm dividing by 4x minus 5. So that's my divisor. It's going to go on the outside. I have to make sure I don't have any missing terms. And this one doesn't. 4x cubed minus 5x squared minus 16x plus 20. By any missing terms, I mean I want my powers of x to go in descending order. So I have an x cubed, an x squared, an x to the first, and x to the 0. So I'm good. So Nate, what can I multiply 4x by so that it equals 4x cubed? All we're doing is changing we're going to multiply by x squared. Good job. So 4x times x squared is 4x cubed. Guys, this is an exponent rule. Remember that says if the bases are the same and you multiply, you add the exponents. Okay. Negative 5 times x squared is negative 5x squared. So I'm subtracting. I need to change the signs. Change the signs. 4x cubed minus 4x cubed is 0x cubed. And negative 5x squared plus 5x squared is 0. So here's my next term. I'm going to bring both of these down. Negative 16x plus 20. So what can I multiply 4x by? 4x times what is negative 16x, Max? Negative 4. So negative 4 times 4x is negative 16x. And negative 4 times negative 5 is a positive 20. I'm subtracting, so I have to change the sign. Negative 16x and positive 16x is 0. 20 minus 20 is 0. So my final answer, x squared minus 4. Thoughts? You feel good about it? Okay. So if you guys go to your packets, we're going to do, I'm going to do 2 things. So if I pull up the module really fast, I just want to show you. Yep. It's your practice packet. So your homework for today says page 7 all and page 8. That should say numbers. You're doing number 1, 3, and 5 on page 8. Okay. So I'm going to do 2, 4, and 6 with you. Is that okay? Yes or no? Okay. So I'm going to keep recording. I'm going to do numbers 2, 4, and 6 with you. So on page 8, I'm going to do 2, 4, and 6 with you. I have to make it gigantic so I can write small enough. Okay. So we're just dividing. So I have 6n plus 4. And I need to slide that down just a little bit. Okay. So 12n cubed plus 56n squared plus 44n plus 8. And actually, I'm going to do 1 and 2 with you. I'm going to save 4 and 6 for tomorrow. So we'll do number 2 and then we'll slide back to number 1. Okay, so Kylie, what do I multiply 6n by so that I get 12n 2n cubed. Perfect. 2n squared. Okay. So 6n times 2n squared is 12n cubed. And 4 times 2n squared is a positive 8n squared. But I'm subtracting, so I have to change the signs. So subtract, subtract. 12n cubed minus 12n cubed is 0. 56n squared minus 8n squared is 48n squared. And I have to bring down the next term, which is a positive 44n. Okay. Hayden, what do I multiply 6n by to make it equal 48n squared? 8n. 8n. So 6 times 8 is 48. N times n is n squared. So there's my 48n squared. And 8n times 4 is a positive 32n. But I'm subtracting, so I have to change the sign. 48n squared minus 48n squared is 0. 44n minus 32n is 12n. Bring down my plus 8. All right. Aiden, what do I multiply 6n by to make it equal 12n? Say again. 2 plus 2. So 2 times 6n is 12n, and 2 times 4 is 8. When I subtract, I have to change the sign. 12n minus 12n is 0, and 8 minus 8 is 0. So my final answer, or the quotient, if you will, 2n squared plus 8n plus 2. How do we feel about that? Okay, I'm going to do number 1 with you, and then I'll get you guys started on your stuff. Or do you need me to do number 1 with you? Yes or no? Yeah? Okay. All right, Jaden, I'm coming to you first. So I'm going to draw my little division box. I have 3n cubed plus 7n squared minus 34n minus 16. And this is being divided by 3n minus 8. So, Jaden, what do I multiply 3n by to make it equal 3n cubed? Okay. So n squared times 3n is 3n cubed. N squared times negative 8 is negative 8n squared. But we're subtracting, so we have to change the signs. A positive 3n minus 3n squared is 0. 7n squared plus 8n squared is 15n squared. Bring down your negative 34n. Reese, what do I multiply 3n by to make it equal 15n squared? By 5n. Yes, sir. 5n times 3n is 15n squared. 5n times negative 8 is negative 40n.
Did you flip the signs for 3n's?
I did. Yes, yes. What are we singing or giggling about over there? Who is singing? Subtract, change the sign. So 15n squared minus 15n squared is 0, negative 34, and a positive 40. Give me a positive 6n. Bring down my minus 16. Manuel, what do I multiply 3n by to make it equal 6n? Positive 2, right? So 2 times 3n is 6n, and 2 times negative 8 is negative 16. And you guys already know when you get to this part, if they look exactly the same, you should be able to stop right there and know that they equal 0, but so your quotient, n squared plus 5n plus 2. Whoa. Okay. So you have page 7 and then 3 and 5. Page 7 and then numbers 3 and